Working here with Michael Thomas. Mr. Thomas is a 12.6 index as of right now. Has gotten down to a 10, 10.5 before. Has some long-term goals of trying to become someone who can break 80 more on a consistent basis, and has been finding in the last couple seasons in particular that some distance issues have been arising for him. He typically is just a weekend golfer, so practice time is a little bit limited, but will coming soon be able to have a little bit more time practicing, just with some changes in his employment and things of that nature. So going to have a little bit more time to practice, put some effort in, and so we've put a brief plan together of some things that we want to do and work on this coming season to improve his full swing, and we'll kind of talk about that right now. So what we did was we had a quick little assessment, which we had some short-term fixes, which we did in his posture right here, as you can see from the left one, whereas this was his initial posture. Again, not terrible, but arms very close to the body. Now we have them kind of working a little further away. Posture's a little bit more, just a little bit more of a proper position there. So some posture changes for one, and then we'll run the one on the left here. This was one of the first swings that we took with his irons. Been fighting a bit of a fade, and like I said, loss of distance and just overall ball striking. So hands do go inside a little bit, and a bit of a short position at the top. As you can see, not a lot of body rotation. Typically that comes from that posture being a little bit too close, a little too upright, so kind of minimal as far as his ability to turn. Does position the club pretty well on the downswing. Does get it aligned with his left arm also very well, so nice little matchup there. But what will happen here is instead of driving through it, he more drives up and out of the ground with his upper body and his head. Loses his posture and his spine angle a little bit. So as a result, this club starts releasing very left and a little quicker. And then from there you can see he's trying to hold on to it a little bit, which kind of creates that fade motion. So just fighting some distance issues and some inconsistent contact with a little too much hands on the way down through impact, but he does have a lot of good things going on in terms of matchups and just overall playing positions. So just some fixes through impact and really changing his feelings there, which unfortunately is a bit of a long-term and can take some time and frustration, but the ending result is very sweet, so we just have to kind of work our way towards that. So now we'll look on the right here. The quick changes we did were changing his posture, again making him a little more upright, a little more of an athletic position, as you can kind of see here. And then on the takeaway, what we kind of call P1, position 1, just in terms of for kind of my amateur students, is we are trying to get this club face now, as you can see, a lot more aligned with his arm. If you look over here, club face is open, arm position is a little bit down. So it was just getting a little bit offline, and so what we did was by changing this a little bit, just made now his position at the top a little bit better, his way on the down a little bit better. Face was not as open through impact. The result was no longer that big old fade, but just a little bit of a straighter trajectory shot. But the biggest thing that we're going to continue to work on is as he comes down, all really good ball strikers tend to actually have their head lower a little bit on their way into impact, and instead his works the opposite way. So we can kind of see right here. So we really started setting up positions to try to drive down a little bit more and eventually have those hands work through impact more outside this line rather than working left so fast. So those are kind of the couple things that we're going to really stress. Is the goal is through impact is to have the hands in line or right of that green line, and hopefully have that shaft working a little bit more out this way through impact, as opposed to where it is right now, which is over to the left. So red is bad, yellow is good, and green is kind of the goal of the lines that we want it to be at. And then as far as the head goes, we'd like to keep the head working more down and through the shot, and thus the body and postures. You can kind of take a look at his spine angle here. Here's his spine position right here. But then at impact, again, does a decent job there, but you can still see the beginnings of it standing up. And also if you look at kind of his glute position, he comes off that wall a little bit right there. So those are just kind of the little things that we're going to assess, is working on body motion, getting that lower body driving a little bit more, and then getting that club and shaft positioning more down the line through impact to kind of minimize the amount of excess hands and face release through impact to the left, which just creates inconsistent contact and forces him to steer the ball a little bit.